Blessed Resurrection Day, church. How are we doing this morning? I understand the sun's coming out, the rain is going away, and that's a good thing, right? We have some great activities for the kids, a brunch afterwards, but I just want to spend a few moments with you talking about this amazing day. When I was 15 years old, I was in a rock band. I was playing with a friend of mine, and there was a band coming to town at Hudson Park. The band was called Rat Race Choir. And they were really good, by the way. They were fantastic. And we decided to go. And it was free. So we're like, let's go, you know? So we go there, but when we get there, they turn us away. They said, the place is packed. There's no way you're going to get in there. So we kind of were leaving a little bit, disenchanted with the whole thing. And then suddenly, my friend says to me, hey, I got a plan. There was a fence not far from the place. And he said, we can climb this fence. They will never see us. And once we get to the other side, we just go in and nobody will know. I was like, okay, that's a plan. When you're 15 years old, you don't back away from stuff like that. You know what I mean? No way. And so sure enough, we climbed that fence trying to sneak in to the Rat Race Choir concert. By the time I got over the fence, I noticed there was a little blood on my knee. And my buddy says, hey, you got some blood there. And I go, really? And I went to wipe it away. And as I went to wipe it away, there was more blood. And I realized it wasn't my knee. I looked at my hand, and I still have a 2-inch scar in my hand, like this, because I had ripped my hand open 12 stitches later. And I remember just looking at my hand, and it was the first time I remember ever fainting. Next thing I know, I wake up, the police is there, and they're taking me to the hospital. There was this obstacle between us and the concert, this obstacle between us and the Rat Race Choir band. And we wanted to do everything we could to go see it. And now I have a scar to remind me of that story. We all have those, don't we? In Mark chapter 16, it says, when the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so that they might go to anoint Jesus' body. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they were on their way to the tomb, and they asked each other, who will roll away the stone from the entrance of the tomb? They had been through so much. They awoke to that inconsolable, aching emptiness. Grief was flooding their hearts. Everything had changed in just a matter of days. And they're not even thinking straight, right? They're like, oh, let's get the stuff. Let's go and anoint Jesus. Get that, and let's get together, ladies. The guys are all hiding. We'll talk about that another day. I'm always amazed when I go to a church. There are twice as many women as there are men. Good for you, women. Amen. And where was I? Oh yeah. So they have all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, as they're walking, it dawns on them that they didn't really plan this right. Like the first thing they think about is, wait a minute, just 3 women. Who's gonna roll away the stone? There's this obstacle between them and the Savior. What's really amazing to me is that the question on their lips that morning was not profoundly theological or philosophical. It was not about the meaning of his life or how to carry out his mission. The question on their lips was a practical one. Who will roll away the stone? And perhaps this Easter morning, this is the question as well on your lips, in your heart. Maybe your obstacle is well camouflaged. Possibly it has been there so long that you don't even longer try to surmount it. This obstacle between you and Jesus. Some of us do a great job not even showing that there is an obstacle. But it's there. I know. I've been there. Only through the grace of God am I here, able to tell you that the obstacle is surmountable. Some of us are here with questions in our hearts. Some of us have stones that need to be rolled away. Perhaps it's a stone to the entrance of your heart. Perhaps it's a stone of skepticism. Some of you maybe have a stone of fear. Or maybe you have a little bit of that rebellious spirit in you. Maybe it's a stone of despair or discouragement. I meet people every day. They don't think I see it, but they have a stone of apathy or indifference, a stone of pain. Maybe it's a physical pain. Maybe it's an emotional pain. Does it loom so large that you wonder if anybody could ever remove the stone? Who will roll away the stone? That was the question. Who will roll away the stone of sorrow from the dark tomb of our losses in our lives? Who will roll away the stone of insecurity from the dark tomb of our failures in our lives? Who will roll away the stones of cynicism from the dark tomb of our jaded vision of the world in our lives? Who will roll away the stone of coldness from the dark tomb of this world's suffering? Who will roll away the stone of grief from the dark tomb of our broken hearts and broken relationships? And some of us, intense losses. Who is going to roll away that stone? I mean, I think that's a very practical question, don't you? So the story continues with, but when they looked up, there's a hint. When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, which they were worried about, that they were talking about, that the stone had been rolled away. Isn't that beautiful? Amen. And as they entered the tomb to go and anoint the body, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. They're like, who is this guy in here? And the Bible says this. The young man says, do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. I don't know about you. I don't know how I would have felt in that moment if I was one of those ladies. What? What did you just say? He has risen. I bet a flood of memories came into their mind as they were thinking about all that Jesus said. Could it be? Is this possible? Really? Could it be? I mean, I just cannot imagine. He has risen. There were rumors going around all of a sudden that the disciples had stolen the body. You know how hard it is to steal a body and then hide it from the Romans back in those days? It's not like they could put it in the trunk of a car, you know what I mean? And then drive it somewhere and bury it. You just didn't do those kinds of things. And then, let alone the witnesses that saw him alive afterwards, not just the disciples. There were many. There were many instances. Today, if you were to look at the evidences of all that was going on there and all of the witness, you could say, yeah, absolutely, there's no doubt. He has risen. All that the Pharisees had to do, all the Jewish leaders had to do was to come up with a body. But there was no body because he has risen. Amen. And back in the days, in the apostolic days, the believers would greet each other. They would go up to somebody and they would say, he has risen. And the return was, he is risen. They got it from the Romans. The Romans would walk around, and they would like strength and honor, and the other strength and honor, right? So they go, we got to come up with our own. Way better than strength and honor. And they would go up to a believer and say, he is risen. And they would say, he is risen. Let's practice that. He has risen. He has risen. Yeah. Doesn't that sound great? Doesn't that feel good to say it? As I think about this morning, and I think about the people that I've met in my life, perhaps the biggest stone in your life this morning is the image of God. Perhaps some of you, and you've tried, you've thought about it, and you've somehow settled it, but not really. In your mind, you're sitting there going, how on earth could God be real if all he does is he looks out to see if I'm doing something wrong? Like, who would want to believe in a God like that? Come on. I know you've had some of these thoughts. I know I'm not the only one. And I cannot tell you how many times I've had to tell somebody that the God that you don't believe in doesn't exist. But the God that I believe in, he has risen. And he is awesome. And he is faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. He has risen. And if you just give him a chance. So I want to conclude with a story. It's a story that I used to read to my daughter all the time when she was just a toddler. It's one of these stories, you know these stories, parents, right? That you have a bunch of books, but you would read this one story, and it's the one story that she would say, read it again, Daddy. Read it again, Daddy. After 6 times, okay, honey, it's time to go to bed. Read it again, Daddy. So I'm going to actually put the book up here. It's called Bread and Honey. And I'm going to tell the story, and I actually have pictures. So, children, if you want to come a little closer, you can, or you can just stay there with your parents. But I want to tell you the story of bread and honey. So this is a children's story, but also for adults. Is that fair? All right. So the way the story goes, and I'm just kind of an adaptation of that story. And you can get this book, by the way, on Amazon right now. It's getting harder and harder to find, but I would go for it. It's a great book if you have children. So this is, in fact, once you hear it, I know you're going to want to go get it. So, and I don't get any, money for this, so just don't worry about that. I wish I had written it, though. And it goes like this. One day, baby bear wakes up, and as he wakes up, he smells Mom baking fresh bread in the oven. So he gets his little pajamas on, walks over to Mom and, Mama, are you making bread? I am. Can I have a piece? It's too hot right now, but I tell you what, when you come back, you can have a piece. Can I have it with some honey on it? Absolutely. When you come back from school, I will give you bread with some honey on it. Really? Yes. Okay. Baby bear gets dressed for school, gets his little backpack, and starts going to school. And all he could think about in school is this, bread with honey. He's so excited about it. And so he's going to math class, and he's going to science class. He finally gets to art class, and he decides, I know what I'm going to do. Since Mama is going to make me this bread with honey, I'm going to draw a picture of Mama. And he takes out his little paintbrush, and he draws this picture of Mama Bear. It's pretty cute, isn't it? And he's so excited. Can't wait till the bell rings, finally does. And suddenly he begins to go home to show Mama his picture. And as he is going home, he runs into his friend Raccoon. And his friend Raccoon's going, wow, where are you going so fast? I'm going home. Mama just made some bread. She's going to put some honey on it. I'm so excited. And I drew a picture for her. What do you think? And Raccoon says, oh, that is really good. Wow. I'm not sure about the eyes. The eyes look a little strange. And Baby Bear looks at the picture, looks at Raccoon, and says, hold on, and gets a paintbrush and begins to paint and says, okay, is this better? And Raccoon says, now that is great. Great job. Really? Yes. Okay, good. So he starts going, I gotta go, bye. And he keeps going. As he's going, he almost trips over his friend Alligator. And Alligator says, hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. I'm going home. Mama's made some bread. She's going to put some honey on it. I am so excited about it. And I drew a picture for her. And Alligator says, show me the picture. Sure. And he shows the picture. And Alligator says, wow, you're very talented. But the mouth is a little small. And Baby Bear looks at the picture and then looks at the alligator and says, you're right. Takes out his paintbrush, starts painting again, and says, okay, how about this? Is this better? And Alligator says, now that is a smile. Your mom is going to be so proud of you. So awesome. And so he starts to go again. Run, run, run. As he runs, he sees his best friend, Rabbit. He loves Rabbit. And Rabbit says, hey, Baby Bear, hey, I've got a question for you, Rabbit. This is really important. I'm going home. Mom's made some bread. She's going to give me some honey on it. I am so excited about this. Would you see my picture? Tell me what you think. Sure. And so he shows the picture, and the rabbit looks at it and says, ooh, that's good. You've got some talent. Really? Yeah, the ears are a little small. Baby Bear looks at the picture, looks at the rabbit and says, you're right. Hold on. And takes out the little paintbrush and begins to do, okay, I got this now. And says, okay, what about now? What do you think? And Rabbit says, now those are ears. Great job. I love it. Thank you so much. And he's like, I gotta go. Bye. See you later. Oh, hi, Elephant. How's it going? And the elephant says, oh, how you doing? Where are you going in such a hurry? I'm going home. Mom made some bread. She's going to put some honey on it. I am so excited about being able to get that. And I love her so much. I drew a picture of her. Elephant says, well, show me the picture. Okay, here you go. And Elephant says, that is, you are good. But, excuse me, I don't mean to laugh. But what is that? That's her nose. Really? And baby bear looks at the elephant, looks at the picture and says, hold on. Gets out the paintbrush. Okay, what about now? And elephant says, now, that is very good. Now you're talking. All right, gotta go. I don't want to be late. Okay, you go, baby bear. Baby bear starts running, and right as he turns the corner, he sees the lion, the king. And he says, I've got to find out from the king. And the lion says, "Way, you're going home, aren't you? I can tell by the way you're running. I can smell the bread from here." Yes, yes. And I drew a picture of my mama. And I was so excited to show it to her. Well, come on, show it to me. Okay, this is mama. And lion says, that is almost perfect. As he begins to comb his mane with his hands. Almost perfect? I need it to be perfect. Well, I'll take a good look at that. I think it's missing something. I see. Hold on. And gets his brush and says, how about this? How's that? And the lion says, now that looks good. And baby bear, the story says, finally makes it home. And as he gets home, he says, Mama Bear, I'm so excited. What's the matter? I can't tell you, I'm just so excited. I drew a picture of you. Of me? Yeah. Well, you're going to show it to me? Yeah. Mama, this is you. And Mama Bear looks at the picture and says, oh, wow, I knew you were talented. That is great. You mean just, that's it? Nothing I should change? Nothing. It is perfect. And she takes it and she puts it on the refrigerator. And the story ends that Mama Bear sits baby bear down with a fresh piece of baked bread with some honey on it. And I remember reading that story over and over and over again. And then one day it dawned on me. So many of us start off with this picture of God. And it's not perfect. But as we go through life and we grow up and we meet people, and our picture of God begins to change. And you know what I love about God? This is our motto here. It's okay, you come as you are, and I will do the rest. And if you come faithfully and you spend time faithfully with the risen Lord, He will change you to even a better picture than you first started. Why? Because He never wants that to be the obstacle between you and Him. I know, because He's done it in my life, and He wants to do it in yours.